You've meticulously planned your vacation. You found the perfect hotel, booked the cheapest flights, and even learned how to ask, "Where is the bathroom?" without sounding like a complete buffoon. But here's a question. Did you check the local statutes to see if it's illegal to wear squeaky shoes? Or if the government requires you to smile at all times? Because from Rome to Singapore, the planet is littered with baffling, idiotic, and downright hilarious rules, just waiting to turn your dream trip into an expensive tourist mistake. 1. In Venice, Italy, the simple act of sitting down can get you in serious trouble. Yes, the city that practically invented leisurely strolls has declared war on your weary legs. Plop down on a monument, a church step, or even the pavement in St. Mark's Square to rest, and you could face a fine of several €100. The official reason is decorum, but it feels more like a citywide conspiracy by the chair rental industry. Venice wants your money, just not your backside on its historic stones. 2. Imagine the scene, the beautiful Italian island of Capri, sun glittering on the water, and you're being arrested for your flip-flops. This isn't an exaggeration. On Capri, it is illegal to wear excessively noisy footwear, particularly wooden clogs or loud sandals that might disturb the island's tranquil atmosphere. This rule was famously used to detain a vacationing couple whose shoes were making too much of a racket. It's one of those classic travel fails where your comfort becomes a crime. So, would you dare wear your favorite noisy shoes? On Capri, your feet are expected to take a vow of silence. 3. In Switzerland, the land of precision and order, your biological functions are expected to adhere to a strict schedule. While it's not a national law, it's a rule so common in apartment buildings that it's legendary. You are forbidden from flushing the toilet after 10 p.m. It's all about noise abatement. Your late-night relief is considered a sonic disturbance to your neighbors. Forget your worldly problems. The real late-night anxiety is deciding if that single flush is worth becoming the building pariah. 4. If you're planning to visit the Acropolis in Athens, leave the stilettos at home. Greece has banned high-heeled shoes at many of its ancient sites, and this isn't a fashion critique. It's an act of historical preservation. The sharp points on high heels exert incredible pressure, enough to chip, crack, and permanently scar marble surfaces that have survived for millennia. Your chic footwear is seen as a menace. So when visiting the cradle of democracy, remember, your Louboutins are considered weapons of mass historical destruction. 5. Singapore is famously, almost obsessively, clean. It achieved this reputation through some aggressive methods. The most legendary is its total ban on chewing gum. Since 1992, importing or selling it has been illegal. This wasn't a random whim. It was a personal crusade by the nation's founder after vandals kept sticking gum on the door sensors of the new subway trains. His solution wasn't better cleaning crews. It was to outlaw the substance itself. Thinking of smuggling in a pack of Big Red? That little act of defiance could be one of the most expensive travel fails you ever make, landing you a $1,000 fine. 6. Feeling a bit down while visiting Milan? Well, you better fix that face. The city has a bizarre, old law on the books that requires citizens to smile at all times. The only socially acceptable places for a frown are at funerals or during hospital visits. Imagine trying to explain to a police officer that you're not miserable. You're just thinking about your credit card bill. While rarely enforced today, it's a hilarious attempt to legislate happiness, making Milan the one place on Earth where a moody expression is, technically, against the law. 7. Ever driven through Canada and wondered why the radio seems to be a non-stop loop of Drake, The Weeknd, and is that Bryan Adams again? That's not a coincidence. It's the law. A rule called Canadian content mandates that at least 35% of music on the radio must be from Canadian artists. It's a policy of forced patriotism via the airwaves, designed to protect local culture from its noisy neighbor to the south. It's also why, deep down, you know all the words to at least one Nickelback song, and you're not proud of it. 8. You drop a 10 baht coin in Bangkok. It rolls away. Your first instinct is to quickly step on it to stop it, right? Don't. In Thailand, that's a massive mistake. The country's currency features the image of their deeply revered king, and any act that defaces his image, including stepping on it, even accidentally, is considered a profound insult. It can be interpreted as a violation of the lèse-majesté laws, which protect the monarchy from insult. It's one of the easiest tourist mistakes to make, turning a simple fumble into a potential international incident. In Thailand, your money demands respect. 9. Pigeons. To some, they are feathered friends. In Venice, they are public enemy number one. For years, tourists flooded St. Mark's Square to feed them, creating a scene straight out of a Hitchcock movie. But the city declared war. The birds' acidic droppings were causing millions of euros in damage to priceless marble statues and historic buildings. So Venice banned feeding them entirely. Now, if you're caught giving a breadcrumb to one of these winged gangsters, the fine can be up to 700 euros. That charming vacation photo of you with the birds? It could end up being the most expensive selfie you ever take. 10. The German Autobahn. A glorious paradise of limitless speed, where you can finally see what your rental car can do. But this temple of velocity has one cardinal sin. One act so foolish it's actually illegal: running out of gas. Stopping unnecessarily on the Autobahn is forbidden, and running out of fuel is considered the most preventable, and therefore most idiotic, reason to stop. It's viewed as a failure of character. On the Autobahn, having an empty tank is like showing up to a gunfight with a banana. You're just not taking it seriously. 11. In Portugal, if you feel the call of nature while enjoying their stunning coastline, you better resist. It's technically illegal to urinate in the ocean. How would anyone even enforce this? Do they have undercover lifeguards scanning for warm currents? Or perhaps a secret maritime squad hunting for suspicious smiles? It's a law that pits dignity against biology, proving that even the world's biggest toilet has boundaries you didn't expect. 12. Australia treats its ecosystem almost like a religion, and their biosecurity laws are sacred scripture. In 2015, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard learned this the hard way when they smuggled their 2 Yorkshire Terriers, Pistol and Boo, into the country on a private jet. The government gave them just 50 hours to get the dogs out or face euthanasia. Yes, Australia was ready to duel Captain Jack Sparrow over a pair of fluffy contraband. A lesson for every traveler. Don't test their quarantine. Even spiders get more leniency. 13. Welcome to Dubai, the gleaming, futuristic metropolis where anything seems possible. Except, kissing your partner in public. The city operates under a strict interpretation of Islamic law, and public displays of affection are a serious offense. A romantic hug, a passionate kiss, or even holding hands can land you in trouble, with consequences ranging from a hefty fine to jail time. It creates a strange paradox for vacationers. This is a top destination for luxury and romance, but your romance must be conducted strictly behind closed doors. In Dubai, the only thing you should be passionately embracing in public is capitalism. 14. The United Kingdom is famous for its quirky, ancient laws, but this one is a modern classic of bureaucratic absurdity. According to the Salmon Act of 1986, it is illegal to handle a salmon in suspicious circumstances. This law was designed to combat fish poaching, but the wording is pure gold. What exactly constitutes a suspicious circumstance for a salmon? Is the fish wearing a tiny trench coat and sunglasses? Is it trying to pay for bus fare with herring? It's a classic tourist mistake to not know these local oddities, leaving you to wonder, what does a guilty salmon even look like? 15. Thinking of driving along the Spanish coast? Make sure you're properly dressed for the occasion. Spanish law prohibits driving while wearing flip-flops, sandals without a heel strap, or even while being shirtless. The reasoning is actually about safety. Flip-flops can slip off and get stuck under the pedals. But the image of getting pulled over and lectured by the Guardia Civil about your footwear is just too good. It's a vacation rule that turns your car into a formal event. In Spain, your vehicle has a dress code, and it's strictly business casual. 16. We all know the old joke. Why did the chicken cross the road? Well, in the town of Quitman, Georgia, nobody is laughing. That's because they have a law that makes it illegal for chickens to cross the road. This isn't a joke. It's a real ordinance designed to keep poultry from wandering into traffic and causing a nuisance. But in the process, they created the single most brilliantly literal law in existence. So in Quitman, the question of the chicken's motive is irrelevant. Why did it cross the road? It doesn't matter. It's going to jail. 17. Here's a law that sounds like a joke but is very real and, let's be honest, probably a good idea. In the beautiful island nation of Samoa, it is illegal for a husband to forget his wife's birthday. While it's unlikely the police are actively setting up birthday stings, the law exists as a powerful social reminder of marital duties. It's the ultimate tourist lesson in cultural priorities. What would you do? Face the judge or face your spouse? It's the one law on earth where the punishment from the government might be less severe than the one you'll get at home. 18. France is a nation that prides itself on its culinary heritage, and they are willing to defend that heritage with the full force of the law. In 2011, the government banned ketchup from its school cafeterias. The move was an explicit attempt to protect traditional French cuisine from the encroaching influence of American fast food culture. There is one exception. Students are graciously allowed to have ketchup with French fries, and only with French fries. It's a perfect example of gastronomic nationalism. In France, the greatest threat to the Republic isn't an invading army. It's a bottle of Heinz. 19. For many tourists, especially Americans, tipping is second nature, a way to show appreciation. But in Japan, it's a social faux pas. Trying to tip your server or driver usually ends with confusion and them chasing you down to give it back. To them, it implies their employer underpays them or that their service needed bribing. It's one of the easiest cultural missteps to make, where generosity backfires and makes you look like a fool. 20. On the remote Norwegian archipelago of Svalbard, there is a settlement called Longyearbyen, and it has perhaps the most morbidly fascinating law on the planet. It is illegal to die there. This isn't some philosophical stance, it's a practical matter of public health. The ground is permafrost, meaning bodies buried in the local cemetery never decompose. Scientists discovered that bodies from the 1918 flu pandemic still contained live virus samples. So, anyone who is terminally ill is flown to the mainland. Svalbard. Come for the northern lights, but for heaven's sake, don't stay for the eternal rest. The paperwork is a nightmare. 21. The great state of Oklahoma has a law that makes you wonder what kind of wild party you missed out on. It is illegal to have a sleeping donkey in your bathtub after 7 p.m. Let's break that down. It's not just about a donkey in a bathtub, which is strange enough. It's a sleeping donkey. And it's not illegal all day, just after the very specific hour of 7 p.m. This rule is so gloriously precise that it had to be born from a real incident. This isn't just a law. It's the ghost of a truly legendary Saturday night. 22. When visiting the majestic ancient ruins of Greece, you are standing on the shoulders of giants, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. The Greek government would appreciate it if you didn't show those giants your backside. Believe it or not, authorities had to implement a specific crackdown on tourists mooning the Parthenon and other sacred sites. Apparently, for a certain type of traveler, this was the peak of comedic genius. The act is now considered indecent exposure and an insult to their heritage, punishable by fines and arrest. Remember, admire the birthplace of philosophy, but keep your own dialogue strictly to the front. 23. If you're on a romantic road trip through Italy, be careful when you pass through the town of Eboli. Here, it is illegal to kiss in a moving vehicle. This rule is framed as a matter of public safety to prevent distracted driving. But one can't help but picture a dedicated passion patrol on the lookout for amorous couples. It's another classic Italian law aimed at regulating very specific behavior, turning a spontaneous moment of affection into a traffic violation. In Eboli, the only thing that should be reckless and steamy is your car's radiator. 24. Singapore's obsession with cleanliness is the stuff of legend, and it extends into the most private of public spaces. It is illegal to not flush a public toilet after using it. And yes, they check. There are reports of officials conducting random spot checks to ensure compliance, with fines for offenders. This isn't a suggestion, it's a legally mandated part of the social contract. It's the ultimate nanny state rule, proving that in Singapore the government's watchful eye extends all the way down the drain. Forgetting to flush is a tourist mistake that stinks. 25. Denmark has no written law here, but their unwritten janteloven, or law of Jante, is powerful enough to feel official. Its message is simple. You're no better than anyone else. Boasting about yourself, flaunting wealth, or acting superior is deeply frowned upon. Tourists from more individualistic cultures often find this baffling. In Denmark, being the tallest poppy just gets you cut down. So even if you're having the best day of your life, just say it was pretty good and move on. 26. In Finland, when you get a speeding ticket, the fine isn't a fixed amount. It's calculated based on your income. This is the country's day fine system, designed to make penalties equally painful for everyone. So, while an average person might pay a few €100 for going a little too fast, a wealthy executive can get hit with a bill that looks more like a down payment on a house. In 2015, a millionaire businessman was fined €54,000 for going just 14 miles per hour over the speed limit. In Finland, they don't just punish you for speeding, they punish your entire tax bracket. 27. If you're hiking in the beautiful Swiss Alps, you might be tempted to embrace nature and hike in the nude. Don't. After a German man made a habit of trekking through the canton of Appenzell completely naked, local authorities took him to court. The judges ruled that public nudity was a breach of decency customs and fined him. So now there is legal precedent. This isn't just about a single travel fail, it's about protecting the delicate sensibilities of the local squirrels. In Switzerland, you have the right to bear arms, but that's about it. 28. Thinking of starting a new life in Cambodia? You might want to leave your giant water cannon at home. The country has banned the import and use of all types of water guns, particularly around the time of the Cambodian New Year. The government feared that rowdy revelers were using them to cause public disturbances and traffic accidents. So, while other Southeast Asian nations celebrate their New Year with massive, citywide water fights, Cambodia remains a splash-free zone. It's the one place on Earth where a super soaker is considered contraband. 29. In Turin, Italy, you're not just a dog owner, you are a state-mandated canine companion. The city has a law requiring dog owners to walk their pets at least 3 times a day. If you don't, you face a fine of up to €500. Animal welfare groups pushed for the regulation, turning a leisurely stroll into a legal obligation. Imagine trying to explain to the police that your poodle was just feeling a bit lazy today. In Turin, "the dog ate my homework" is not an excuse. You have to walk the dog, or the law will be nipping at your heels. 30. The Netherlands is famous for its liberal attitudes, but even Amsterdam has its limits, especially when it comes to tourists. In many of the city's famous coffee shops, where cannabis is openly sold and consumed, it is now illegal to smoke tobacco. That's right. You can legally purchase and smoke a joint, but if you try to light up a regular cigarette inside, you'll be told to take it outside. The national smoking ban, designed to protect workers from secondhand smoke, applies to tobacco, not cannabis. It's a legal paradox that perfectly captures the spirit of Amsterdam. Everything is fine as long as you break the right laws. 31. Let's go back to Georgia, a state that seems to have a real problem with regulating very specific social gatherings. In the city of Gainesville, the self-proclaimed poultry capital of the world, it is illegal to eat fried chicken with a knife and fork. This law was passed in 1961 as a publicity stunt to promote the local poultry industry, and it has stuck around as a beloved piece of local lore. A 91-year-old tourist was even playfully arrested for violating the ordinance. In Gainesville, the only proper way to honor the bird is with your bare hands. Utensils are for quitters. 32. In the Maldives, a stunning island paradise, the government takes its religious identity very seriously. The country is officially 100% Muslim, and public observance of any other faith is forbidden. This means tourists are not allowed to bring religious texts like the Bible, crucifixes, or other religious idols into the country. Your luggage will be scanned, and any items deemed to be religious paraphernalia can be confiscated. It's one of the most critical tourist mistakes you can make upon arrival. You come for the heavenly beaches, but you must leave your own version of heaven at home. 33. On the picturesque island of Barbados, fashion is a matter of national security. It is illegal for anyone other than members of the armed forces to wear any kind of camouflage clothing. This isn't a suggestion. It's a strict anti-impersonation law. Tourists have been arrested for wearing camo shorts or shirts, having the items confiscated and facing a fine. The authorities don't care if it's a high-fashion designer print. To them, you look like you're planning a coup. So, pack your brightest tropical colors because, in Barbados, blending in can make you stand out to the police. 34. In Sweden, it's illegal to repaint your house without getting permission from your local municipality. Even if it's just a fresh coat of the same color, you're expected to file an application. Why? Because the government wants to maintain the aesthetic harmony of the neighborhood. So if you're thinking of turning your cute little cottage into a neon pink statement piece, think again. In Sweden, even your creativity needs a permit. A beautiful street is everyone's business, and your bright idea could cost you a hefty fine. 35. In Denmark, even your baby name needs a stamp of approval from the government. Parents can't just pick any name they fancy. There's an official list of around 7,000 pre-approved names. Anything outside that list requires a formal application and review by a special naming committee. The rule is meant to protect children from names that might invite ridicule later in life. But it also means that Danish parents can't be too creative. So if you dream of naming your child Moonbeam or XAA12, be prepared for some serious paperwork. In Denmark, your child's first identity crisis starts at birth, with a rejection letter. 36. In Singapore, chewing gum isn't the only strange restriction on your personal expression. It's also illegal to walk around your own apartment naked, if it's visible to the public. The law states that being unclothed in your private home counts as indecent exposure if someone can see you through a window or open door. That's right. Your neighbor's view of your birthday suit could earn you a court date. So in Singapore, even your most private moments need curtains. Forget travel fails. This is a lifestyle fail waiting to happen. 37. In the UK, a land of castles and queues, it is illegal to be drunk in charge of a horse. This law falls under the Licensing Act of 1872, and it also applies to cows, carriages, and steam engines. It's an antique law from a time when a horse was your primary mode of transport, but it has never been repealed. So, if you've had a few pints at the pub, you can legally ride in a taxi, but you cannot legally ride your horse home. It's the original DUI, and it's a fantastic reminder that some problems have been around for a very long time. 38. In Florence, Italy, the birthplace of the Renaissance, you are not allowed to eat or drink near its famous churches and public buildings. This isn't just a polite suggestion. It's a strict order enforced with fines. The city got tired of tourists leaving behind trash, wine stains, and greasy panini wrappers on the steps of priceless landmarks like the Uffizi Gallery. So they created red zones, where snacking is a crime. It's a classic tourist fail. You thought you were having a charming picnic, but the city thinks you're vandalizing a masterpiece. 39. In South Africa, the law takes its wildlife conservation so seriously that it even applies to giraffes, specifically their heads. It is illegal to stick your head out of a moving car window while driving through a game reserve. Authorities say the rule exists to protect both visitors and animals, after incidents where tourists were headbutted by startled giraffes or bitten by monkeys. It's a rare case where reckless selfie culture meets Mother Nature's long neck of justice. In South Africa, if you want to keep your head, keep it inside the vehicle. 40. We end this section in France, a country that apparently has a deep-seated anxiety about transportation hubs and the dead. A very old and obscure law makes it illegal to die at a train station. The reasoning behind this is brilliantly bureaucratic. A train station is public property, and dying there would create a logistical nightmare of jurisdictions and paperwork. Who is responsible? The railway company? The city? It's a rule designed not to save your life, but to save some poor government clerk from an administrative headache? 41. In the state of Iowa, there's a law that feels like a personal attack on every romantic movie ever made. It is illegal for a man with a mustache to kiss a woman in public. This isn't a joke. It's a genuine, if archaic, piece of legislation still technically on the books. What was the great mustache-kissing catastrophe that led to this? Was there an epidemic of scratchy, unwanted affection? For the mustachioed tourist, Iowa presents a difficult choice: your love life or your facial hair. You can't have both. 42. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. And what Romans don't do is keep goldfish in tiny spherical bowls. The city of Rome has banned the classic goldfish bowl, deeming it cruel. Animal rights activists argued that the shape doesn't provide enough oxygen and distorts the fish's view of the world, causing it to go blind. It's one of the few laws on this list that seems both incredibly specific and surprisingly thoughtful. It's a rule that reminds you that in the eternal city, even the smallest of creatures is granted a certain level of dignity. 43. We're heading back to the UK, where the law has a very particular view on national symbols. It is considered an act of treason to place a postage stamp bearing the monarch's image upside down on an envelope. In the age of email, this law is mostly a historical curiosity, but it speaks volumes about the reverence for the crown. It turns a simple act of mailing a letter into a high-stakes political statement. Forgetting which way is up could, in theory, brand you an enemy of the state. That's one heck of a tourist mistake for just sending a postcard. 44. In the state of Minnesota, you might want to think twice before organizing a good old-fashioned pig chase. A bizarre law makes it illegal to hold a contest where you grease a pig and then try to catch it. These greased pig scrambles were once a popular feature at country fairs, but were eventually deemed inhumane. So while you can enjoy the butter sculptures and deep-fried everything, the sight of a slippery, terrified pig running for its life is strictly off the menu. 45. In Thailand, personal hygiene is not just a suggestion. It's practically the law. It is illegal to leave your house if you are not wearing underwear. Now, how could anyone possibly enforce this? We have no idea. But the law exists as a statement of public decency. It's a rule that operates entirely on the honor system. But it's a powerful reminder that in Thailand, some things are better left to the imagination. So before you step out to explore Bangkok, do a quick check. It's the one travel fail you'll be happy nobody noticed. 46. In Germany, a country that values precision and planning, pillows can be considered passive weapons. This legal classification means that in a court of law, a pillow fight could potentially be escalated to a charge of assault if one person uses a pillow against another aggressively. So if you get into a playful brawl at your hostel, be aware that your fluffy weapon of choice might have more legal weight than you think. It's the only country where pillow talk could end with a police report. 47. Let's talk about reincarnation. In China, it is illegal for Buddhist monks to reincarnate without prior written consent from the government. This is not a spiritual guideline. It's a hard rule from the State Administration for Religious Affairs. The law is widely seen as a political tool aimed at controlling the selection of the next Dalai Lama, whose followers believe he is reincarnated. It is the ultimate act of bureaucratic overreach, where the Chinese government has decided it has jurisdiction not just over this life but the next one too. 48. In South Korea, the battle against screen addiction has become a matter of law. The Cinderella Law, or shutdown law, forbids children under the age of 16 from playing online video games between midnight and 6 a.m. The system automatically kicks them off the servers. The goal was to ensure kids got enough sleep, but it led to a generation of gamers desperately trying to use their parents' accounts to get one more match in. It's a fascinating clash between public health policy and the undying will of a teenage gamer. 49. In the city of Memphis, Tennessee, home of the blues and the birthplace of rock and roll, there's a baffling law concerning frogs. It is illegal for frogs to croak after 11 p.m. This ordinance was likely born from a single, loud-mouthed amphibian who pushed a local resident over the edge. How do you enforce it? Do you issue a warning to the frog? Do you arrest the whole pond? It's a perfect example of a law that is utterly unenforceable, but beautifully illustrates a community's desperate plea for a little peace and quiet. 50. We wrap up our journey in Japan, a country that elevates etiquette to an art form, even when it comes to elevators. In certain government buildings, it is illegal to press the emergency stop button on an elevator without a valid reason. The rule was put in place to prevent pranksters from disrupting the workday and wasting emergency responders' time. Breaking it can land you with a hefty fine and some serious side-eye from bystanders. It's a law that may seem excessive, but in Japan, even your elevator manners are part of the social contract. Respect the ride or pay the price. So there you have it. From smiling on command to keeping your donkey out of the tub, the world is a stage of wonderfully weird rules. The next time you travel, remember that you're not just a tourist. You're a temporary citizen in a place with its own story and its own bizarre set of laws. What's the craziest rule you've ever encountered on your travels? Share your story in the comments below. We'd love to hear it. And if you enjoyed this trip around the globe's rulebook, be sure to subscribe for more adventures into the wonderfully weird. Final verdict. After 49 gloriously weird rules, our pick for the most unforgettable one has to go to France, for making it illegal to die at a train station. This law captures everything we love about bizarre legislation. Oddly specific, hilariously bureaucratic, and utterly impossible to enforce. Only in France could death itself be considered an administrative inconvenience. But what about you? Which rule made you laugh, cringe, or shake your head the most? Drop your verdict in the comments. We can't wait to hear your take on the world's weirdest laws.